Ride the signal through the unknown. This is the cryptic current.
Previously, there was a legend that humans only use 10% of their brain. It was said that if one day we could use 100% of the brain, humans would open the divine door. Humans would achieve everything that seemed impossible. In fact, the Hollywood movie Lucy was built upon this legend. Since the movie's release, more and more people believe that our brain still has many unexplored areas. However, at this point, many experts have spoken up, saying that using only 10% of the brain is just an urban legend. They even cited evolutionary theory, saying that if humans really only used 10% of the brain, the remaining 90% would have disappeared long ago in the evolutionary process. But reality proves that the brain hasn't shrunk that much. As soon as this statement was made, many people found it reasonable, even believing that. It turns out we have been using 100% of our brain all along. But when people no longer doubted the unexplored potential of the brain, a Harvard scientist named Doug made a new discovery. He not only proved that the human brain still has many unexplored areas, but also affirmed that once fully explored, what happened in Lucy would become reality. At that time, humans could not only use consciousness to transcend time and space, but also explore and develop unknown brain regions, even seeing the world from a different perspective. And the reason this scientist knew all this was because she had once used 100% of her brain. And through that change, she saw the creation. Not only that, besides this scientist, there are now many other scientists who also confirm that the human brain has unimaginable special abilities. Some even hold the key to unlocking it. Next, let's turn back time to the legendary world having the Great Flood. It's said that everyone at that time had supernatural abilities, because they possessed 100% of their brain. Talk about whether you However, there's currently a notion that the left and right brain hemispheres might have hindered human progress. Legend has it that after the Great Flood, humanity experienced a brief period of peace. It was a world that spoke only one language. There were no national distinctions among people, so everyone worked together to build a great city. The city covered a vast area with countless streets and canals, running through the city in an orderly manner. Not only that, even the buildings inside were extremely magnificent and tall. On the architectures, there were not only rooftop gardens, but also flat carvings used to decorate the city walls. Therefore, after the city was built to its peak, the city's ruler suddenly fell into deep thought. He always wondered what more he could do. And then an idea flashed. He decided to build a tower. A tall tower that could reach heaven. Once this tall tower was successfully built, humans might use it to find God. However, what the ruler didn't expect was that when God discovered humans wanted to ascend to heaven, he came down to see the tower construction and realized that for humans, no plan was impossible. They could achieve everything when they shared a unified language. Therefore, God decided to confuse their language and scatter them throughout the world, and the tower construction was halted. And from that moment, humans no longer spoke only one single language, and even because of this, separation appeared. That is the story of the Tower of Babel mentioned in the book of Genesis and Haggadah, classical literature of Judaism. This king was Nimrod on the plains of Babylon, a very stubborn and brave conqueror. But he was the one who made his people rebel against the gods. Originally, everyone thought the Tower of Babel was just a story told in the Bible. However, like the Great Flood, this story is also common in various cultures. And what's even more surprising is that in 2017, a historian discovered evidence showing the Tower of Babel once existed on a stone slab dating back 2,600 years. It describes how they transported stones from the Persian region, and also how they applied cement between the stone slabs to build a tower. The notable point is that the construction method described there is exactly the same as in the Bible. And this opened up an issue. If the Tower of Babel once existed, then were humans before building the tower, like the Bible says, using only one single language? But the problem is, if humans indeed once used only one language, then what happened that made humans suddenly change? Could it be that God really locked us up? The strange thing is that currently there is evidence showing our brains have been affected in some way. One night in 1908, on a street in the city of Königsberg, Germany, suddenly a woman's scream rang out. At that moment, the woman's husband was startled when he saw his wife using her left hand, frantically strangling herself, and her right arm was trying its best to prevent the left hand from attacking. Seeing this, the husband ran to assist his wife's right hand. At that time, he took great effort to prevent his wife from harming herself. After waiting for his wife to calm down, the husband with a suspicious expression asked his wife why she wanted to harm herself like that. Unexpectedly, the wife told her husband that she didn't know why this happened either. Clearly, just a second ago everything was fine, but right after that her left hand started losing control. The strange thing is that since that night, the wife's left arm frequently lost control. Sometimes when the wife was talking to someone, the next second she would hit them. This is like I'm talking to you very politely, but my left hand suddenly wants to hit you immediately. And just when I'm about to hit you, my right hand comes to your rescue. Additionally, no matter how many times the wife went to see doctors, they couldn't find the cause leading to this abnormal condition. So, when there was nowhere else to turn, the woman and her husband began to believe she was possessed by a demon. At the same time, similar cases were reported in other towns in Germany. There were patients who couldn't even do simple tasks like putting on clothes. When one hand picked up an item, their other hand would put it away, back in its place. Often more than an hour passed and they still hadn't finished dressing. At that time, a psychiatrist named Kurt Goldstein even described this disease in his report in a very strange way. Many patients continuously told him that someone was controlling their left hand, and some even sought exorcists, asking for exorcism. It wasn't until 1972 that this disease was officially named alien hand syndrome. Some also call it alien hand syndrome. S-hand seems like it. Currently, according to experts, human thoughts, consciousness, and even behavior are all controlled by the brain. But our cerebrum is not just a single mass. In reality, it is formed from two completely separate left and right cerebral hemispheres that combine together. But why is the cerebrum separated? Why, in the evolutionary process that people often did they not merge into one but instead rely on the corpus callosum to connect back together? Corpus callosum is a term meaning the solid body. And our story today coincidentally relates to this unreasonable structure, the corpus callosum. There are even scholars who believe that the corpus callosum could be key evidence in the brain preventing human progress. Let's return to the story of alien hand syndrome. After this case spread widely around the world, scholars everywhere for research. At that time, many believed that early research would prove alien hand syndrome was not caused by demonic possession, but rather a type of neurological disorder. Indeed, experts later discovered that most people with this condition had issues with the corpus callosum. In fact, under normal circumstances, the left and right cerebral hemispheres process information together and uniformly issue commands to control the body. But during the study of alien hand syndrome, experts found that the left and right cerebral hemispheres have at least two different types of personalities. For example, today one hemisphere thinks I need to drink water, but the other doesn't want to. And under normal conditions, the dominant hemisphere overpowers the decision of the weaker one. So ultimately, I drank water. But those with alien hand syndrome, their dominant brain no longer exclusively controls the body. At this point, the left and right hands will respectively carry out commands from different cerebral hemispheres. Hence, the scene of the two hands fighting each other appears. And at that time, scholars finally realized something extremely strange. To realize it, in reality, every person. It's just that under normal circumstances, we only let the consciousness of one hemisphere manifest. But this doesn't mean the other hemisphere lacks its own consciousness. The issue is why clearly one person has two different types of personality consciousness. Why do I clearly know I have to go to school? There's another me that just wants to browse the internet. However, before one problem is solved, another arises. According to the latest research, most of us are using the left cerebral hemisphere with language abilities. To the extent that we seem unaware that the right brain is actually the key to human progress. Because in history, there was someone who only used the right brain. And at that moment, he discovered that humans had an endless source of energy. According to Taoist legend, over 1,200 years ago, there was a scholar who, after more than 10 years of diligent study, prepared to go to the capital for the imperialism. At that time, the scholar was determined to pass this time. But in the end, the scholar did not pass as desired. At this point, the scholar was sat in front of the examination hall, packing his belongings to return home. But on the way back, he encountered an old man with a peculiar appearance. Seeing the scholar's sadness, the old man took a wine bottle in his hand and gave it to the scholar, intending to console him with it. Unexpectedly, after the scholar drank a few sips of wine, he fell asleep. In his dream, the scholar experienced several trips to the capital for examinations. Finally, in one examination, he passed as the top scholar. From then on, he lived a life of wealth and honor, even becoming the prime minister of the country. But who would have thought? The weather is unpredictable, fortune and misfortune are hard to foresee. In a subsequent political upheaval, the scholar lost all his glory and wealth, and his family was sad. And so, at that moment, the scholar suddenly woke up with a start. Even if I put all my heart and effort into passing the exam, in the end, it's not as good as a rustic farmer with a reunited family. And just as the scholar was filled with mixed emotions, a carefree laugh suddenly awakened the scholar. So it was just a dream after all, the scholar thought to himself. And just as the scholar was secretly relieved that everything was merely a dream, the old man suddenly spoke up. Even from afar, I already knew what would happen in the future. What meaning does being an official hold anymore? Better to follow me in cultivating the Tao. The scholar, hearing the old man's words, found it quite reasonable. Thus, he decided to follow the old man in practicing the esoteric. In the end, he even attained the method of immortality, and recorded this method in a book, The Secret of the Golden Flower. Hearing the name of this book, I wonder if any of you find it familiar? Does anyone remember which video we mentioned it in before? Those who remember, please comment below to share with everyone. And this is the story of one of the 8 immortals, Lu Dongbin. Based on the description in the book, before the universe formed, the world was filled with a mysterious substance called true Qi. This is the most primitive energy source of the universe, and even after the hypothetical Big Bang, it still exists everywhere. Cultivators hope to connect with true Qi through their practice. Because once connected, they can transcend time and space, returning to the primordial energy before the universe formed, thus achieving eternal life. The key to cultivation lies in awakening the primordial spirit located between the eyes. In your opinion, is this the pineal gland we often refer to? It is said that everyone has a primordial spirit and a conscious spirit, also known as the primary primordial spirit and the secondary However, most people are unaware of the existence of the primordial spirit. This is because we typically only use the conscious spirit. For example, if we go a day without eating, the conscious spirit makes us feel uncomfortable all over. When external events occur, we feel fear, joy, or even anger. These 7 emotions and 6 desires actually stem from the conscious spirit's reactions after perceiving and understanding the external world, only by dreaming, in deep meditation, or near-death experiences. Do we have a chance to glimpse the primordial spirit and see another world? Interestingly, there are indeed people who, through the cultivation methods of the secret of the golden flower, have seen the mysterious energy world. And those who claim to have seen the energy world are not ordinary people. Among them are the psychology master Carl Jung and quantum mechanics pioneer Wolfgang Pauli. Speaking of this, I'm sure everyone remembers the video where he talked about the secret of the golden flower. And psychology master Carl Jung, right? At that time, Jung was so amazed that he even participated in translating The Secret of the Golden Flower. The Secret of the Golden Flower. However, although The Secret of the Golden Flower once fascinated Jung and Pauli, they were not neuroscientists. Therefore, even if they truly saw the mysterious world through cultivation, there was no way to prove that world actually exists. It wasn't until 1996 that a neuroscientist confirmed the primordial spirit world revered by Taoists is real. In 2008, a speech that shocked the neuroscience community was held in the US, given by Jill Bolte Taylor. She is a strong, rational, and practical woman. Graduated from Harvard Medical School, majoring in neuro. At the beginning of her speech, Jill said, "Everyone knows we have two cerebral hemispheres. Each brain has different functions. The right brain uses images for contemplation and uses sensory perception for. In the world of the right brain, there is no time, it only cares about the present. But our left brain is different. It has temporal logic, can organize current information, and connect with past and future. Most importantly, the left brain controls language. It is the inner voice within each of us. For example, one day on the way home, you think you need to remember to do laundry later. Otherwise, tomorrow you won't have socks to wear. While thinking about washing socks, you realize that you haven't arrived home yet. And in the future when you get home, you will go wash the socks. However, you won't speak these words out loud, because they are inner monologues, only occurring in your brain. In fact, you could even say that the left brain is the self we are familiar with. So if one day this self suddenly disappears, what will happen? On December 10, 1996, True was still lying in bed and suddenly felt a dull headache. But she didn't think it was anything serious. And so she went to the treadmill as usual. At that time, True was thinking she needed to remember to take headache medicine before going out. Unexpectedly, while trying to remember where the headache medicine was, something strange happened. She found her movement speed very slow, as if she had pressed a slow motion button. True recounted that on that strange day, she finally realized something was wrong. And so she decided to take a shower first. But while walking toward the bathroom, the situation worsened. My head became extremely painful, my limbs stiff, to the point where I could only walk by leaning both hands against the wall. Yes, I must use my hands to hold onto the wall, absolutely cannot fall, True thought. But when she focused her attention on her hands, she discovered her hands had disappeared. Not only that, she couldn't even determine where the boundary between her body and the wall was. Because at this moment her arms had merged into the wall. So at this moment she was just a source of energy, an energy source merging into oneness with the surroundings. True said. And all I could find was this energy. Energy. That's happening to me? What? Because this happened so suddenly, True was extremely frightened. The inner voice kept asking, "What's wrong with me? What should I do?" But just as she was about to fall into extreme crisis, that inner voice suddenly disappeared. Like someone took a remote control and pressed the mute button, suddenly calm. Even stranger, when the inner voice disappeared, she was no longer confused, but instead could focus on the strange world before her eyes. She discovered her body was expanding at an extremely fast rate, merging into oneness of the world. And the reason she knew she was growing was because she was watching everything from a third-person perspective. Hey, isn't this the state people often experience during near-death experiences? Just as she was feeling extremely confused, the inner voice returned, quickly calling for help. She needed assistance. The inner voice said. And so True tried to use her right hand to pick up the phone to call for help. And then at this moment she discovered her right hand couldn't move. And so only then did she realize that her left brain had suffered a stroke. And the reason she had that strange experience earlier was because at this moment, she was experiencing a world with only the right brain. True said, when the left brain had a stroke, the way she saw the world was completely different. Doesn't this way of speaking sound familiar to everyone? Many myths we've mentioned before, even the regression legends of Doris Cannon and S.K. Casey, have referred to this. Before the world was born, there was a creative unit. Each of us belongs to a creative unit, and we have participated in it. And we have participated in a creative unit. 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 Each of us is part of a creative unit. And one day, we will eventually return to it. Isn't this the feeling of energy belonging that Jill experienced? You should know that Jill is not a mystical scholar, nor a religious follower, but a Harvard neuroscientist. That year, due to a stroke, she saw another world through her right brain over the following 4 hours. And this opens up another issue. If the world before our eyes is seen through the left brain, then who can be sure that the world seen by the right brain doesn't exist? Could it be that the energy world seen by the right brain also exists? We're so accustomed to using the left brain that we don't. Coincidentally, the left brain that humans are accustomed to using is the part that manages language functions. This what? Perhaps what was separated was our brains. There are also some people, like the religious practitioners we mentioned before. They practice to open up other parts. What the left brain sees is the familiar material world, while through practice we can open up the part that sees the other world we don't normally see. You probably remember in the first Q&A video, a viewer asked if later when human perception changes, there are new discoveries about certain issues, will the Marubi team make other videos? Certainly yes, because human perception is constantly changing. Even the issue of left brain, right brain we're sharing today is like that. Because modern scientific research focuses on things seen and heard, we can only perceive according to the visible manifestations of this brain. But even our physical bodies, this entire machine, without spirit and personality, cannot form a complete human being, let alone the brain. Whether the original spirit in religion is just this brain remains a mystery. Similarly, where human personality comes from is also like that. What do you think? Do you believe the current brain structure is hindering our progress? Why do we only see this much? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below the video. Our sharing for today ends here. If you find this video or the content on the Marugi channel truly interesting, please share it with friends to explore together. Thank you very much. Goodbye and see you again. Subscribe to the Gian Migo channel to not miss exciting videos.
If the signal hooked you, subscribe and catch the next ripple.